Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the movie Dragon Ball Super Super Hero. And I did not like this movie. Now, it's fine if other people liked it. I'm glad it's doing well. I just overall did not enjoy this movie. Now, before I get into it, I'm also going to be changing up potentially how I kind of do movie reviews. Not that I'm going to do anything weird within the structure of what I do with the reviews, just that when I went to go see this movie, I had originally purchased a ticket for Thursday. However, I get there and I go to the auditorium and you sit through all the ads and everything, and it's 15 minutes past. I've had to sit through ads, trailers, and I find out I am in the wrong movie theater. That evidently, since I purchased a physical ticket, like about a week or two before the movie was supposed to come out, they had decided to switch theaters, and that I then find out I've missed the first 15 minutes of the movie, and that was just kind of a straw that broke the camel's back kind of thing. I'm like, I came out here to do this. They did give me a rain check, though, granted, the manager tried to be like, oh, you only missed the first 15 minutes. I'm like, yeah, but you're not going to give me back the money because I'm not seeing the full movie. And that is through no fault of my own. You, for some reason, switched up the ticket, like the auditorium number, so that way it fucked me over because it said the ticket of Auditorium 3. And then I went to see it Friday night, and it was still in Auditorium 3, and I'm like, this was where the other movie was. Thankfully, I was able to see it. And the thing is, this one, you did need to see the beginning, kind of, because it info dumps all of the shit that you need to know. And, oh my god. The beginning of this movie, oh, just nutty. But it just showed that like they didn't really give a crap about what they do with what they would deem not important movies, not the like new it was a new movie out, and you're just switching up stuff willy-nilly. I mean, granted, yes, I'm an old fuck, but there used to be certain points in the movie theaters where they would actually have like the names or the posters of the movies in the auditorium, so that way if that kind of happened, you'd be like, hey, okay, I could go and ask or talk to somebody about it before I went in and be like, hey, yes. And if that's going to happen and I've got to sit through all these ads that I don't really give a shit about and all that, I would rather just wait for it to be on a streaming service to do that. So that's just my little thing about, I might get to a certain point where I will just wait for certain streaming services to have certain movies or certain movie channels through cable packages to watch certain movies because I'm getting fed up with it. Like when it gets nutty to like when you get into the expense and you gotta drive there and you gotta sit through this shit and then you're like, hey, this was the night that I was playing, I was stoked to see this movie and I got fucked, not because of anything that I did, but because of the confluence of things that have turned in and screwed over the movie theater experience. Like, if during my quote unquote loading screen portion, it's like, please sit by and enjoy the show kind of thing, and like even showed what the show was. It'd be like, hey, I'm in the wrong movie theater. Like, I don't mind that if I can shuffle there fast enough. Granted, usually I like to see the trailers of of the movies before, but if I at least get to it where I don't miss anything except, hey, here's all the stuff for all of these things that are involved with the movie, that's a different matter. So that would affect like certain kind of Marvel ones if I waited the 45 days that they're usually on like Disney Plus or whatnot, or however long it is. Now, granted, that means I would be shifting to doing like maybe other reviews to like fill up times and gaps until I can get to a certain point where I can watch it, but I've just liked being able to watch it on my own time and have better control and have better sound, because some, like, I don't know what the fuck it is, but certain movies you have sound mixing that it's like, I have no idea what they're saying, but I can hear that boons, boons, boons shit and feel it vibrate in my fucking skull, because sometimes the mixing is just like complete and utter nonsense. Ugh. Sorry, not meaning to go on a rant, but this experience really kind of like made me rethink of how I want to watch movies so that way I can better review them and understand them. Now, granted, I've thought about this movie a lot, and I do not think it is a good Dragon Ball movie because it tries to do too many Dragon Ball, Dragon Ball Z, and Dragon Ball Super things at once and not be able to tonally flesh them together. And also, it is the bad kind of fan service where it copies shit instead of homaging shit. I.e., it's like, oh, this is kind of similar to that other situation, but it's kind of shifted up a little bit. You know what I mean? There are certain changes and subtleties in certain things, but it's just like, oh, okay, because we get this info dump because, granted, it's been Dragon Ball's a franchise as long as fucking shit, and I did see some younger kids there getting into Dragon Ball, and I'm like, okay, that was a good positive from seeing like kids being into the franchise and being into the movies. But it's like, this is Goku doing all this stuff. It's like, all right, cool, thank you for that. And then we get to, all right, this is Magenta, the son of the person that headed the Red Ribbon Army, and now he's trying to bring the Red Ribbon Army back. And what he's going to do is he's going to find, let's see here, Dr. Gero's grandson, who is a fucked up kind of dude who gets away with certain shit because he got like arrested for stealing corpses and turning them into androids and having them work in a convenience store. Like, he's into superheroes, but he's doing fucked up shit. Like, there's a difference between a morally gray character that tries to do good but does it in kind of weird ways between I like superheroes but I do a lot of fucked up villain kind of shit. So we pretty much get like the bulk of the beginning of just Magenta trying to get Dr. Hido on his side. And he's like, alright, cool, I'm just doing this. And his way of doing it is to make Bulma and co. look like evil aliens trying to take over the Earth to appeal to a sense of justice. That doesn't need to be done because he had already said that, just give me money and let me do my research on androids. Like, I don't know why they have this fucking thing of like, yeah, we're the bad guy villain organization because we're going to make them look bad and whatnot. I'm like, alright. It's just kind of complicating the plot for no other reason. It's like, he just wanted to do his android kind of shit. And I get that. Like, you had a perfectly reasonable, simple, valid motivation of the Red Ribbon Army asshole wants things to take out and get vengeance on the gang. Granted, has that been done to death before? Sure. However, it still works rather than him trying to sell that, like, they're bad guys and shit. It just seemed to kind of want to tie into this thing of them trying to make his androids Gamma 1 and Gamma 2 into superheroes and then have them, like, fight our heroes at first be like, you guys are the villains. No, you're the villains. It's almost like they're looking at certain kind of, like, Civil War and superhero fighting superhero shit before, which, ironically enough, Dragon Ball has done that kind of shit where you fight a villain and then make them your fucking friend. Like, Goku's the poster child for that shit. Like, they've done it with Vegeta. Not Frieza. Fuck that. Ugh. And also, the animation style kind of off-put me a little bit. It's CGI, and it's at least decent enough, but then I just recently saw that, like, Super Broly was on, and I liked the better kind of fusion of 2D and 3D that film was able to create. It just, like, when you're watching it, you're like, yeah, alright. Alright. So, he pretty much gets him there. He's like, if you ever try and kill me, I've injected my skin with this thing that can, like, pretty much withstand a lot of shit, and I'll use my beat to fucking kill you. So they're doing their kind of thing. Then we kind of shift over and see Piccolo is pretty much the unofficial grandpa for Pan. And, by the way, Pan is pretty much the best part of this movie for me. Really showcasing that she is an interesting kind of fusion of, like, Gohan and Goku, i.e., she's trying to figure out how to fight and everything, but she knows that she wants to go to school and do all this stuff. She's like 3 years old. I'm like, god damn, she's advanced. Another kind of plot thing. We definitely see Goten and Trunks later on in the film. I don't know what the kind of, like, year difference is between Broly and this, but Goten and Trunks suddenly shoot up to fucking like teen young adult shit when in Broly they were like small, and I'm like, what the fuck is going on here? Ugh. So it's just we have Pan's age here. It's like, all right, cool, and Piccolo's training her. Now, granted, he's doing it in a more kind of gentle manner, which is cool to see character development wise on Piccolo. But the thing is, she can't fly at the moment, and she's trying to do all this kind of stuff. He's like, listen, we'll take it easy, all right? Go off and uh, uh, get back home and all that, and do everything that you need for school. So she kind of runs off kind of super fast, like Gohan and Goku would do. So it's kind of cool. They putter around for a little bit, and then Videl calls him to pick her up from preschool because Gohan's in his research. He goes, he's like, "Rrr." And it's funny that like Goku has become obsessive with doing his training and everything, and Gohan is obsessive in his research, where he found ants that essentially turn Super Saiyan. While I'm on the subject of Goku, let me go and do that, where essentially there was another little mini movie in here, which I would rather watch than this one, where we see that Goku, Vegeta, and Broly are on Beerus's planet. He pretty much napped for a couple months, and they're trying to figure out their training regimens. Broly's going a little bit off the chain, but Goku's like, listen, we got to get to a point where you don't completely and utterly, like, essentially Hulk out. So Whis is like, all right, Vegeta and Goku, you fight until somebody wins, but using no power-ups or anything like that, just fashion beatdown. And then we see him doing that. Chile and the other dude that are friends with Broly are there as well, and evidently Beerus has a type in liking Chile, because I guess we got a Roshi the motherfucker. Now granted, he doesn't go complete Roshi like nosebleed kind of shit on her. He just like, I gotta like you. And they just have ice cream, and Broly watches Goku and Vegeta to understand how they go through their fighting techniques. It's like, alright, cool. And Broly doesn't really talk that much. They have switched over the voice actor, but it will be interesting to see Broly more, hopefully. But they're fighting, and then we also get to the end where they pretty much beat each other to a pulp. Well, not to a pulp. Vegeta wins, but it's treated as a complete and utter joke because they both exhausted each other, and he does this like soft ass punch that puts Goku down. He's like, yes, I finally beat Kakarot. And I'm just like, even though Goku is more of my favorite, Vegeta deserves a legitimate fucking win against Goku, either taking out a villain or actually beating him in something. Okay? Not treating it as a joke. Alright? It just, it's been treated as a joke for so long because he almost always gets that win and keeps getting pulled back. He deserves a legitimate win once. And you can try and argue that this is a legitimate one, but it's more twinged as a joke on his and everybody else's part as he then immediately falls down. And Chile's like, this is kind of stupid, and Broly and the other dude are like crying about it. But Beerus is like, she can stay, and the dude can stay because he can cook and shit. Whis then gets to this thing because Bulma was trying to contact him about the fuckery that was going on. She's like, nah, we handled it, and I'm sorry we don't have food. And he's like, no, I missed out on that. And that's where that ends, because that's the post-credit scene that we get. So, we see that Piccolo is pretty much taking Gohan to task, like, not taking care of his daughter. I'm like, okay, I get that, yes, he should be able to pause his research to go and get his daughter. But also, what the fuck is Videl doing? It's like there's a lot of plot demandsy things because they need certain situations to happen to go about. Now, granted, I understand that a story inherently needs some kind of level of plot demanding to potentially get things going or whatnot. However, when it's completely and utterly transparent of like, would Gohan not go and get his daughter? No, he would. Okay? Because that's what he would do. And setting him up to be like his jokishness, I do like that they kind of try and give him and Piccolo the spotlight in this movie, but it fails for me because of what kind of weird shit you kind of have to do. Him being a researcher and focusing more on his family rather than Goku, fine, I didn't like that direction. I would have rather preferred him being able to be elevated to Earth's protector, especially since Goku has been elevated more upon godly, universal kind of concerns that he's been doing. We are getting kind of a setup of like Goku potentially being something and Vegeta potentially being like a new God of destruction or whatnot. So I do get that Earth would need a better new protector. And the thing is, they're kind of setting up Pan to be kind of a better kind of option for that. And I do look forward to that. She was very well done as a kind of mischievous kid, but like understanding and loving with the people around her, loving her dad, loving Piccolo and all that. So he kind of goes and gets Gohan to task for that, but he does help out and everything. However, he then is training and doing his own kind of thing, which, interestingly enough, Piccolo does prove that you can train and focus on your training while also helping out. And Videl, for some reason, is like, yeah, I'll get you, like, sweets or whatnot. No, I'll get those kind of plushy things. He's like, I don't like these plushy things. I don't need shit. All I need is water. Well, Gamma 2 pops up and tries to pretty much take him out, and pretty much thinks that he kills Piccolo and then buggers off. Like, Piccolo's like, oh, okay, they're kind of pretty, they're a threat. I should check in what's going on. Sees the whole Red Ribbon Army, has this infiltration kind of thing, learns that they're still going with the whole thing. Hito is working on perfecting them as superheroes, and then working on this Cell Max thing. Ironically enough, I've not seen, like, the earlier kind of Broly movies much, but this gets to a point where it's like, oh, okay, you can't use Cell yet because we can't control him. It's like, alright. And of course, it looks like Cell's imperfect form 2. Is it called 2? The one where he's absorbed like Android 17. Before he absorbs 18. And it's like, alright, he's probably going to set that off, so we'll kind of see what goes on. So Piccolo does this whole kind of spiel of being like, alright, they don't know where Goku and Vegeta are, so they decide to go after Gohan and kidnap Pan to kind of get him to do shit. Now, Piccolo and Pan kind of working together, being like, listen, we gotta teach Gohan a thing, let's see if he's actually soft or whatnot, if he doesn't know anything, because Gohan took him to task, pretty much like went after him a little bit, put on his old kind of, Piccolo-esque uniform. He's like, God damn, this thing's heavy. It's like, yeah. Now, granted, I do kind of like that he's got a kind of Clark Kent thing going, where his eyesight's bad unless he turns Super Saiyan. It kind of gives him more of a Superman kind of like quality. So, this dude, they send Piccolo and the dude to kind of kidnap Pan, and Pan just fucking knocks the dude out, like pretty much on her own. And it's like, she's able to tell it's Piccolo right off the fucking bat. And then they pretty much go, they get this kind of whole thing. They're like, yeah, we kidnapped your daughter. And then Gohan immediately goes complete and utter beast mode. Super Saiyan, like, where's my daughter? So it's like, yes, Gohan. That's the reaction Piccolo was kind of looking for. So he pretty much goes to do his assault on the Red Ribbon Army. Now, before this was going down, Piccolo decided that he needed senzu beans and also went to Bulma. She was supposed to try and contact Goku and Vegeta. Of course, wasn't able to do that. And instead, he used the Dragon Balls to get a new power form. Because he asked Dende to pretty much unlock his own latent potential, but he couldn't because he needs to be older to do that. And instead changed the dragon to do that. It's like very plot demanding. I'm like, wow, getting a new power-up in a new form is an important journey for these characters, and this was just like, we get Piccolo to go to Bulma. She gives him, like, he uses the wish to get his power form, which we get Orange Piccolo then. I'm like, okay. It just didn't feel earned for Piccolo, and he deserves better than that, in my opinion. And then she uses the last 2 wishes for cosmetic surgery of getting, like, a perky college ass and wrinkles removed. When they then are like, oh god, we could have used those wishes to wish Goku and Vegeta here. Yes, because you are smarter than this, and the plot demands that you're fucking stupid. I don't like when characters are made stupid so a plot works. That's on the writers there. Okay? You don't need to do that. And if you resort to that, that just means you're going to willy-nilly whatever. Someone's going to be smart enough to do something, or they're going to be stupid enough to let something happen. And if that's the case, you lose character consistency. So they go off. He kind of plays it up. Gohan starts fighting Gamma 1, Red 1. It's funny because Pan really goes along with the acting and everything, and even the Red Ribbon Army's like, "We kidnapped a kid. We shouldn't be doing this." I'm like, "Yeah, that's kind of interesting that the Red Ribbon Army would be like, let's not do this," but that the Magenta Dude's like, "Yeah, let's do this kind of shit." So Gohan is kind of having some trouble, but he's still kind of like getting into his powered up forms, getting into like going Super Saiyan, getting into his ultimate form, and then we see Piccolo turning into Orange Piccolo, which was an interesting kind of look, but we don't get really much shown off for it. Like, the biggest issue with introducing new forms and new kind of things is you need the time to show them off, and they have to make sense. I don't feel that these new forms really got enough time to show off any kind of new things. It's just like he turned orange and kind of fucked up this dude before. He's like, pretty much called him as like, listen, you guys are the bad guys. You kidnapped a little girl, and we see that like Magenta's trying to like fuck with Pan a little bit, but like Dr. Heater's like, fuck this shit, and tries to stop him before he pretty much unleashes Cell Max. Of course, we see that Bulma, 18, Krillin, Goten, and Trunks pop up to kind of see what's kind of going on, and then Cell Max, Magenta gets killed by Hito, but Cell Max gets thrown out, and he's just a big brute that does no thinking. Like, I don't know why you attached Cell to this kind of thing, other than to be like, Gohan, you're gonna get a new form, and we're gonna do this just like the Cell thing, and except worse. Because it's not to stop this villain that's got these like motivations or anything. It's just this rampaging kind of monster force of nature kind of thing, which can work, but it did not work for me here. It's just seeing them kind of deal with everything. We see that this one doesn't have healing powers, and that for some reason it's got a weak spot on its head that if you like destroy completely, it will die and then it will blow up. So that's its failsafe thing. Goten and Trunks fucking fuse for some reason, but they fail in our fat Goten. Fuck me. They're fat Gotenks for some reason, and we see their ass a lot. Because their ass gets shown. He like falls and cracks and shows that he doesn't heal, and that's where the weak spot is. And they keep kind of fucking around a little bit and getting kind of beat up. Gamma 2 sacrifices himself to do enough damage that destroys his arm. He was trying to crack it and kill it, but he fails. I do like the Gamma androids. They did have at least interesting kind of stuff of trying to be heroes, and I would like to see them in the roundup of the Z Fighters. I just hope that they actually use the Dragon Balls to bring 2 back, because that wasn't brought up whatsoever after he fucking dies. But Gamma 1 saves Hito from being killed and whatnot, and after everything's done, they're just randomly put into the Capsule Corporation because Bulma needs somebody to inject her with fucking Botox. They really fucked over Bulma. Like, her pettiness and shallowness is just fucking horrendous in this movie. It's just what the fucking shit. Alright, I'll look at that. I do have my notes. So, Piccolo then uses his his orange form and gets bigger to try and like grab him so that way stop him so like Gohan can take him out. But the thing is, Cell Max is pretty much beating him almost to death, and then this unlocks Gohan's Beast Mode. It's just an exact copy and paste, and I don't know what it is. I thought that they were going to be moving Gohan in a kind of different direction rather than Super Saiyan transformations, because that's at least what I got with the Ultimate form. I don't know how this Beast Mode fits within his thing. It's like Super Saiyan 5 shit. His hair's fucking huge as shit and silver. He's got red eyes with like black pupils. I don't know if this is like his ultimate form Super Saiyanized or what. Because I do know in the Super manga at certain points, Goku's able to utilize certain kind of power-ups while in Ultra Instinct. So we'll have to kind of see how that kind of works. Sorry for the rain, if you hear that. So, I'm just like, okay, it looks cool, but we don't really get much on it used or shown off for that long or that well. So I needed more on that. It just pops up because we needed Super Saiyan 2 again. Super Saiyan 2 made more sense because we'd seen it teased throughout certain kind of things. But he's able to do it, and then we get him pretty much beaten a little bit on Cell Max before Piccolo then essentially does a copy of the whole Raditz bit where Gohan charges up the special beam cannon that he can use and blasts Cell's Max's head in. And it's kind of nice that Piccolo doesn't die from this. It's just, oh, okay, so it's like that. And then he asks Gohan how he did that. He's like, yeah, I've been practicing that. So it's kind of cool that he did Piccolo's move like that. But then he goes down from his form. Pan's like, Daddy, and all that kind of stuff. It's like, hey, cool. But it wasn't shown off that long. Like, Gogeta had a longer kind of showing off in Super Saiyan Blue form against Broly and all that. That was we had people utilizing different kind of forms in Broly that worked better from what we had seen. And this just was not good for me. Now, granted, I like Battle of the Gods. I liked Resurrection of Frieza, even though there were issues in that one as well. And I loved Dragon Ball Super Broly. So, of course, there's going to be ones that I don't really like. And this one just ticked a lot of boxes of I did not like. Man. Let's see here. But we just get, like, repeats of shit. And that's not good fan service. Fan service calls back to certain things with homages while advancing stuff going forward. I don't believe this did. We're just getting weird forms just because they think that's what we want. I would have rather had the Goku and Vegeta fight. Just like they were just showcasing all stuff with Broly and then just having them just fuck around. And that's not saying that because I think that Gohan and Piccolo are not prime fertile grounds to be delved in a Dragon Ball movie. They are, and they are some of my favorite characters. I like a lot of characters in this, and a lot of them need their dues. But it's just like, what the fuck, man? This was just not well done. The characters acted strangely because the plot was fucking nonsense. And they were just like, hey, here's some cool new forms. Cool. I barely saw them in action, so what was the fucking point, my dude? Yeah, that's pretty much the big points that I had in my notes, because I've been thinking about it and writing stuff down notes-wise for a while. I just did not like this movie. The fight scenes, there were no holy shit moments for me. Of like good techniques or new kind of forms used or new kind of attacks used. It was just a mess of just regurgitating past stuff and then having the plot just puked on you and then just kind of going through the motions. And I mean, it was pretty enough, but I preferred what was going on in Super Broly of the fusion of 2D and 3D because I'm just like, okay, it wasn't horrible, but something always felt off when I was watching the film because of the use of the 3D. Not that it was horrible, but it's just like, alright. You know? I'm just like, eh. I'd rather see, like, what the animators can do with it, and I don't feel that this showcased the animators doing really cool and awesome things. Like, you need to let them go buck fucking wild and do some crazy ass shit that we've seen in, like, Super Broly, where they're, like, punching through fucking dimensions and shit, and, like, cracking open the fucking Antarctic and all that. Or North Pole. Yeah. So, unfortunately, I was disappointed in this movie. Not really because of the insane shit that kind of went on for me to be able to see it, but overall, what I felt of the quality of the film. Now, if you liked it and you enjoyed it and you thought it was good, I never want to take that away from you. If you enjoyed this movie, have at it, and that's cool, man. I'm happy for you. I'm glad for you. I never want to take that away from you. However, I did not like it, and I did not think it was good, and I would rather watch other Dragon Ball movies and other Dragon Ball shows. So those are my opinions on the movie. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also, like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.